Hello everyone, my name is Rocket and you're watching Rocket in Vermont. Today I'm in White River Junction. I moved here in August and I wanted to include this town as part of the series because I live here and I thought it would be a great way to explore the community. I'm going to tell you a little bit about this town, but I'm also going to focus this video on an interview with Jackie and Vural of Tuckerbox, which is right behind me. Before we get to that interview, let's go hop around town and I'll tell you a little bit about what I've learned. So for the longest time, my experience at White River Junction was limited to actually coming here because I would hop on the Greyhound bus to Boston, and I never knew that White River Junction had this like incredible downtown until probably about 2013 when I first came to the Tip Top building, which is a really interesting place. So let's head over there. This is the Tip Top building. It was originally a bakery and then the bakery shuttered and the building was getting all dilapidated and forgotten, and there's a really interesting person in town named Matt Busey who had no experience in real estate but decided for some reason to take it on and basically revitalize the building and bring all these arts, media, businesses. This building has become an anchor in White River Junction and has been a big part of this community's revitalization over the last couple decades. One of the most interesting buildings here is the Coolidge Hotel, which actually was disassembled and brought here from somewhere else, and then like 50 years later burned to the ground and then was rebuilt. And it's like this huge, like very interesting story behind that. Also downtown you have the Cartoon School, and then there's Gate Street, which has all these beautiful boutiques. And one of the best things about White River Junction, which is very Vermont, is that all these businesses are small, locally owned businesses. And my favorite place, personally, is the filling station. It's this divey bar where they do bluegrass nights every Wednesday. I couldn't tell a story about White River Junction without bringing you to my favorite little secret, local secret. This is a community garden, which I just stumbled across in the fall, and I love this place.
So I'm from Vermont originally, so I've always lived in Vermont. I was in nursing school at UVM. I went to Mount Washington for the summer with a friend to dorm there and work there, and I met Vural there. He was a server, a lead server at that point. By August, when I had to go back, we decided to stay together, and the rest is history, I guess.
I used to work in Istanbul, one of the fancy hotels in Old Town. My language wasn't good enough that moment. I need to learn the language and step up for my title. I could not speak very good English. And one of my friends came to me, hey, you're so hard worker and good personalities, and I have uncle working at Mount Washington Hotel. So I came for 2 years, and then she changed my destiny. Jackie helped me out a lot.
Can you tell us about Tuckerbox, what it means to you?
When we first moved to this area, we were regulars at Tuckerbox. It was a coffee shop, very limited menu, but they just had great coffee.
I'm a foodie person, passionate about food and culture, spices. I think Turkish food everyone can eat it. But it was just in my mind. You don't have money, you need to work hard. I remember that moment, but I never give up for my dream.
We eventually looked at the Tip Top because he was selling that. Eric Hartling was the owner. He owned Tip Top and Tuckerbox. He said, I'm also going to sell Tuckerbox, and we jumped on it. By then we already knew the culture. Tuckerbox already had its own culture. It was really a community gathering place. When we took over, we knew we wanted to try to keep that culture as much as possible.
Right.
And keeping the name was definitely a big part of that.
One thing that I specifically love about your story is just how romantic it feels. Like, why did you choose to learn Turkish? And then you also stopped nursing. It just feels like such a really deep-hearted commitment to the business and to Vural and to each other.
I don't know. I always knew I wanted to be a nurse. That was just never a question. But I just, kind of had that drive to also do something else on the side. But then when I met Vural, he was always going to open a restaurant.
I told Jackie, I need you. You start from nothing, and we're going to do this. If we do this, we got the restaurant.
He loves his culture so much, and it's really a beautiful culture. I know for Vural, he just loves sharing all of that with everyone.
I'm very happy to be in this position, and basically it's a nice culture gonna carry on
Right.
as far as someone continue to do it.
I just want to thank you both for taking the time to share your story with me, with all of us. I'm sure I'm not alone in thanking you in terms of bringing great food, great energy to town.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
It was a pleasure to meet with you guys, and I'm always supporting these ideas and share.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Well, have a great night. When my grandparents immigrated from Korea to the US, they opened a little grocery store that was called La Paloma. Why the heck would these Orientals have a grocery store called La Paloma? It's funny because their story is the same as Jackie and Vural's, which is that they bought the business from previous owners who had a business named La Paloma. And the fact that Tuckerbox was a name that people recognized, that meant something to the community, that was a gathering place, and that Jackie and Vural wanted to honor that. It's this constant theme, right? The new honoring the old, and that sort of creating this legacy over time. And I think that's pretty cool. So I wanted to end this video by coming here. This is South Main Street. My understanding is that 15, 20 years ago, this area was really scary. There was a lot of drugs, a lot of violence, and a lot of the houses were condemned. Now, there are a lot of businesses like Elixir and Big Fatties and Miracle Grow Pro. There are new apartment buildings that have been built. There are people that have moved in. My point is that this neighborhood has changed dramatically over the last 15, 20 years. And I know that a lot of people who grew up here feel like White River Junction has changed a lot, which I believe it has. So there's this tension that goes on, and it's this very interesting thing that White River Junction is experiencing these growing pains. But if you look at this town on a big picture, you can tell that this town is really on the up and up. It's going somewhere, that people here are really committed to making this town a great place to live. And so as somebody who does live here now, that's pretty exciting. If you come to White River Junction, I hope you'll check out Tuckerbox, or one of the great restaurants here in town. I'm Rocket in Vermont, and you are watching Rocket in Vermont.